Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? My name is Rob of Rule of Two Review and welcome back. So today should be a pretty exciting video. What I wanted to talk with you guys about today is why Goku should make it into Super Smash Bros. Psych! Nah, I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about none of that stuff. I just wanted to see your faces when I said that out loud. What we're actually going to do is talk about some No More Heroes. So joking aside, let's dig into Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. A pretty crazy game in a really unique situation. You guys know me. I am a huge, diehard No More Heroes fanboy. Travis Touchdown is one of my all-time favorite video game characters. I've discussed it many, many times, especially before we got the reveal of Travis Strikes Again late last year at the December Nindies Direct. I think it was in December, where suddenly it was revealed, hey, in 2018, a new No More Heroes game is coming exclusively to the Switch. Now, this is insane to me. Like, I am so excited and shocked, even still, to think that we are actually getting another No More Heroes game, another game with Travis Touchdown. I'm a massive fan of the first two games, which you can see right here, Nintendo Wii releases. And when No More Heroes 2 was done and I finally completed that game, all I could think of was, man, these games are great. This character is awesome. The world, the style, the humor, the gameplay, broken as it may be, still so fun. I was like, these games are so good. I would kill to know that we could get one more No More Heroes Travis Touchdown game. But even I was pretty savvy to the fact that, honestly, after No More Heroes 2 was done and the way the Wii was going and we knew we were starting to lead into newer hardware pretty soon, I was like, you know, something tells me that these games just weren't successful enough, and as much as I want it, and there's a cult following for these games, I doubt we'll ever see another game happen. Now, since then, Suda51 has made a couple of other games. A lot of them were really good, especially Shadows of the Damned. Probably my favorite non-Killer 7 and non-No More Heroes game he's ever made. Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer is Dead. All these games are very solid, very good. They carry the Suda branding of, like, weirdness and kookiness. And they're great. And throughout that whole time, we all were thinking and wondering, man, maybe one day he'll make another No More Heroes game, but he keeps making these other weird games, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And, you know, here we are today, and suddenly another game is happening. So that in and of itself is insanely exciting for a lot of us. And I think that's why, when I look at No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again, and where we're at with this game currently, with just a little bit of information and a little bit of gameplay, like 10 minutes of gameplay that exists, I think it's why I remain overall excited and optimistic. Now, I will admit, now that GDC is going on, we had, you know, almost 2 weeks ago, we had the Nintendo Direct, where Nintendo did have 40 seconds of weird gameplay and a little bit of info and, like, quick little kind of reel. And then, of course, like I said, right now, GDC is going on. We had 10 minutes of gameplay released of the game of one of the modes. And it's like, okay, it is weird. What they're doing with this game is weird, it's strange, it's different, and I totally acknowledge that. But I feel like I'm more willing to just accept the coolness of another No More Heroes game and Travis Touchdown being in another game, that it just gets me excited. Plus, it does happen to be exclusive to the Switch, and that's pretty damn cool. Now, there are two main reasons that I wanted to make this video today. One is the fact that I just am so excited and into this game that I wanted to talk about it. So just for my own selfish reasons, I wanted to just gab and gush over the fact that another No More Heroes game is coming. The other reason is because this game right now is a bit controversial because of what I mentioned earlier, that gameplay that's now started to come out from GDC, Game Developers Conference, and the fact that a lot of people are starting to feel like, hey, this game might not be what we really want, this is not what I was expecting, this isn't truly a No More Heroes game, the gameplay looks weird, I don't like the whole minigame looking feel that it might have, everything just seems really strange about it, and so people are suddenly a little bit critical of what's going on. And I will admit, there are reasons to be critical and maybe a little bit nervous. I do understand that. We know a little bit about the game. We understand that there are 7 ultimate games or modes or genres kind of packaged within this. You know, the story is set up that Travis gets sucked into a video game console, and in typical weird Suda fashion, inside of the video game console are 7 what seems like 7 video games, like worlds inspired by what are different made-up video games. And there's a racing game, there's a puzzle game, there's an action game, there's a whatever game, who even knows? And you play throughout these different levels and these games and these areas, probably using a lot of different gameplay mechanics and different genre styles, and ultimately make your way to a crazy end boss, which is a very No More Heroes part to this game, by the way. And that's what we're doing. And, you know, the gameplay that they've showed only gives us a real solid idea of one of the kinds of gameplay that we might expect and one of the modes. And so people have reason to be nervous. I can understand it because it's like, hey, at the end of the day, I would like to see a game that feels just like these first two games. Don't do any of that weird stuff. Just make it another action game where you're fighting assassins and bad guys and running around a world and doing Travis touchdown things. But the thing is, I don't even necessarily think that what this game seems to be doing is so far off from what No More Heroes typically is. I mean, think about the idea of what I just said. Do the normal No More Heroes thing. I mean, I just said that. I think that's what a lot of people are asking for. Well, what is the normal No More Heroes thing? It's weird stuff. That's what it is. These two games are so weird. They both have a lot of mini games built within them. Let's not pretend like there aren't mini games as a part of the kind of lineage of these first two No More Heroes games. And Travis is a weird character doing weird things. There's crazy humor. There's a lot of different gameplay ideas mishmashed and torn apart and mixed around in these two games. And really, this new game is kind of just continuing that sort of weirdness in that gameplay. And then there's another huge element to this that I feel kind of is making me okay with the fact that this game is kind of weird and doing weird things. And that's that it's a spin-off. Suda confirmed that this game is essentially a spin-off. They partnered with some other indie developers to have small little elements like t-shirts or maybe even weapons and appearances by NPCs from a lot of different other well-known indie games and indie game studios. And I have to say that overall, that's kind of what this game feels like. A small indie project by the guy who's responsible for these games. And he's hoping to be able to build himself to the point where we can get an actual No More Heroes 3. In fact, right after the initial reveal of this game coming back in that Indies Direct, like I said, I think in December, there was even a quote that Suda kind of put out there, letting everyone know exactly what's going on with the game as far as it not being a No More Heroes 3, and this is just a game to kind of get the juices flowing in the No More Hero world and get Travis Touchdown back into people's, minds again so we can get excited and hopefully eventually get to the point where it's successful enough we get No More Heroes 3. Here's the quote he says that kind of lays this out for us. Well, again, it's not a direct sequel to No More Heroes 2, though they are directly related and take place in the same universe. Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes takes place 7 years after the events of No More Heroes 2. As you've probably noticed, it's, quote, Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes. So No More Heroes is a subtitle, there's not a number on it. This isn't a direct sequel, and it is not No More Heroes 3, but it does address some of the things that happened in No More Heroes 1 and 2. While it is sort of a continuation of that stuff, it is not a direct sequel partially because No More Heroes is about one assassin against other assassins, and this isn't like that. This isn't exactly a spin-off or something like that, and while it's not a direct sequel, it is something of a stepping stone on the road to No More Heroes 3. So the way I'd like people to think of the game is like the beginning of a new battle for Travis, a new series within the series. So there you go, that kind of lays a lot of it out, and to be fair, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought that he actually had quoted, it is a spin-off. And I obviously misread it because what he said is that it isn't exactly a spin-off, but he does look at it as something separate from the numbered No More Heroes games that is almost like a side story that's kind of its own little series within the world of Travis and No More Heroes, but also based on this game's success could be, like he said, a stepping stone on the road to No More Heroes 3. So all of this gobbledygook and everything I'm talking about essentially means this game is a side story game. It's not a No More Heroes 3, but if it does well and if the stars align properly, Suda wants to make a No More Heroes 3, a game whose case would sit right next to this one right here. He wants to make that game, so we can allow this game to be a little bit weird and do a little bit different things and try different elements, but still have Travis and still be hopefully an exciting game. Also, I have to tell you guys, I'll be honest with you about something else here too. I will admit that while I've always been excited since this game was announced because I never thought we would get another game with No More Heroes and Travis in it, I did have some of the nerves that people are talking about. I was like, man, the descriptions of this game are weird. Is it going to be mini games? Is it going to feel like a really small indie game? Is it going to be like a side-scrolling game or use weird pixel art that I don't want? I want this to still, like, do new and different things, but still look and feel and be something similar to a normal No More Heroes experience. I want it to look and feel reminiscent of these two games in a lot of ways, and I was worried that it wouldn't based on the initial descriptions. Now that we saw the Nintendo Direct little clip and got some info, and now we've got this, 10 minutes of gameplay from GDC that's come out, I have to tell you guys, a lot of my fears were actually kind of assuaged as soon as I first saw this game actually running in the game engine, and I saw the gameplay. I mean, it is so much better than what my worst fears were based on the description from last December. That definitely made me feel a lot more positive and optimistic about this game. I mean, it is in third person. It's using a really sleek and cool looking engine. I mean, let's talk about that. The art style and the engine seem to run pretty well. It looks very fast paced. There's a lot of that Suda51 No More Heroes style oozing off the screen with everything that we're seeing. The gameplay is reliant on Travis Touchdown running around in third person in a 3D environment with his beam katana, slashing at fools and killing them. Like, that is a thing happening in this game. I was worried the game would not look or play or feel like that at all, but it does do that. So right there, my heart is just very, very happy to see a lot of that stuff happening. Now, when we focus on the big chunk of gameplay that was just released from what, looks like that action game thing, I mean, here's the thing. It looks very simple. It looks a little bit different, like it's deviating from the typical formula for No More Heroes and Travis's combat. They even said in the 40-second direct thing that it's like very kind of simple and straightforward combat, but you can do a lot of unique things with it. It does have the multiplayer aspect, which some people may like, some people may hate. I'm personally fine with it, and apparently there's a way to chain your attacks together. But then they show us how fast-paced and cool that combat looks and how great the graphics and the visual style is. All of that stuff to me has proven very impressive. Like, I'm into what I've seen. It looks like cool, fast-paced No More Heroes beam katana action. We've also seen a little glimpse of a boss, and it looks like a typical No More Heroes over-the-top boss. We've seen Travis doing wrestling moves, which we've seen Travis doing wrestling moves, which is something he's known for doing in the other games. There are so many elements of a typical No More Heroes game peppered throughout all this gameplay we've seen. Like, I'm just not super worried. It's not what I would want out of a No More Heroes Part 3, out of the sequel to these two games. It is not what I would want. I will absolutely admit it. But I think it serves the purpose of what this game is trying to do, doing a lot of different things, telling a new story like Suda51 says, tiding us over until No More Heroes 3 comes, doing all these great things, and like I'm thinking probably going to be a budget price. That makes it all okay. Now, I'm guessing on the budget price thing, and that might be a sticking point for a lot of people. If this game is $60 but feels more like a minigame collection, maybe it won't be worth it for most people, and I would understand that. For me, I'm a super fan, and I can afford it, so I will buy it even if it is $60. But I will admit that based on where the direction it seems like this game is going, I would like to see it released as like $30 or $40. That's what I would like to see to help us understand that this game really does have a spin-off side story kind of feel to it, and a little bit of an indie feel, but that still helps keep us excited for No More Heroes, and that hopefully not too many toes are being stepped on there. But we have to wait and see. I mean, we don't really know. We have a lot more information to still kind of get from this game. But that's kind of the way I see it. I feel like price will be a big determining factor on really what this game is supposed to be viewed as. But there's one last thing I want to bring up, and this is very huge and very important. It came up on Twitter today, and I've been thinking about this whole time until I knew I was going to make this video. In the direct footage, with the little narration going on about the game modes and everything, one thing that they say at the very end that almost no one has brought up or talked about, I'm like, why aren't people considering this? And it's why I knew I needed to talk about it in this video, is they actually say, also, did we mention the new single-player adventure mode that tells a whole new story for Travis? Something is happening there. That sounds, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like that is separate from all of the minigame things, because that direct footage clearly states there's 7 game modes with 7 genres, and then also there's an adventure mode that tells a new story. Like, they describe those as 2 separate things within this whole Travis Strikes Again package. So, hey man, that might be more the game that we're looking for. That might be what we've all been waiting for a new No More Heroes game, packaged alongside of the 7 game modes collection thing. So that's something we need to keep in mind, you know? And if you go back and look at that footage, that clip from the Nintendo Direct, pay attention specifically to what's being shown on screen for the game while the narrator talks about that adventure mode. It's like, it just looks like the normal No More Heroes mode. I had to think about how I wanted to say that. It looks like one of these 2 games. It shows a close-up of Travis. He's doing all these things. He's sitting down to do his save mode thing and Old school fans will know what that is. It's like they're trying to show us that this game might have a mode that feels very much like a normal No More Heroes game in it. That's telling a story like we all want. So, at the end of the day, in summary, so I can finally end this video, I understand people being nervous or a little bit critical based on what we're seeing. The direction is a little bit confusing, and there's a lot of details and more gameplay we need to see. I share some worry a little bit with you guys. However, overall, I'm very pleased and impressed with what we've seen. I believe Suda knows what he's doing and Grasshopper know what they're doing. I believe that they wouldn't make this game if they didn't feel like it would be a justified Travis touchdown experience that is worthy of the No More Heroes name, and something that they didn't know was going to make fans of the series and the character happy. I think they know what they're doing. The gameplay looks solid. The graphics in the engine are very impressive to me based on what we've seen. They talk about an adventure story mode that tells a new story for Travis. These are all the things that I've been waiting for, and let's not forget that in another bizarro dimension, we might not even have a third No More Heroes game to play at all. And so to me, I'm willing to look at that as the best silver lining here. Travis is coming back. No More Heroes is coming back. We're going to have a new game to play on the Switch in 2018. And I also believe Travis is going to be making it into Smash Bros. 2. That's my own personal theory, but I think it's going to happen. So overall, I don't know. I'm totally into Travis Strikes Again. So that's it for me. I got to gush and talk myself to death, I feel, over this game and why I'm excited for it. There are reasons to be nervous and worried, yes, but I think we're going to get those details. I think it's going to turn out to impress us overall. And again, if this game turns out to be anywhere from like $20 to $40, I think that might soften the blow as well. If it's 60 and if it focuses solely on mini games and doesn't have a lot of substance, we might have a problem there, but I don't believe that's going to happen. I have my faith in Suda, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Travis Strikes Again, the gameplay, the direct footage, everything we understand so far? Are you optimistic? Are you very negative? Do you think it looks great? Do you think it looks terrible? Are you happy? Are you angry? All these different things, all opinions are welcome, as they usually are on Rule of 2 Review. And that's it, man. Hey, I'm stoked for Travis. I believe in Suda51. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys have to say about it? Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.